Cronus, you thought you would bow before your will.
Roki is a modern-day tale of courage and adventure. A game about monsters that shouldn't exist. Join Tuve, a young girl touched by magic. Explore an uncharted world of hidden legends. Discover mysterious items and meet long-forgotten monsters. Solve ancient puzzles to unlock paths deeper into the forest. Draw maps, collect curiosities, and chart your adventure. Unveil the story of tragic loss and the path to redemption. confront Tuve's past, explore her memories, and learn the truth. Roki, a game about monsters that shouldn't exist, but do.
Not yet rated.
Welcome to Purgatory, the land of lost souls, the realms of madness. Does anyone have what it takes to survive the nightmares of this realm and open the doors of insanity? Join our hero riding his mighty steed on a quest of redemption. Monstrosities and damnation stand in their way, armed with sword, shield, and mystical cards. No defense, just attack. They will carve a path of merciless terror through their enemies. Whoa. I mean, we just started. Let's try that again. Witness a world where chilling on a boat on the river Styx makes you look like a total badass. Because you know you won't be thrown overboard to hell. Because you are really, really awesome. Limbo cannot hold you. You deserve paradise. Use your sexy charms. Befriend a scary witch. Master spells with your magnificent mind. Summon awesome allies for your enchanted entourage. And give respect to beings of infinite powers. Hey, what a cool story. Using a new powerful deck of defense cards, you will block, parry, and riposte your way to victory. Oh, not again. Were heroes always this fragile? Strap yourself in. Again? Summon a 1940s boy band. No! I'm gonna be honest, this is not going the way we wanted it to. Okay, come on. Alright, next hero. More meat for the grind. In a world where everyone dies and hope is futile. Yes! Alright. Good card choices, excellent equipment. Okay, solid tactics. We got this. We have our hero. Now, let's swing open the doors of insanity. Where no sword is too big, armor too thick, ally too obnoxious. In this totally awesome game that you should definitely buy.
Is the story of a little juggler's girl. Trapped in her life, she wanted to see the world. Alone. And, oops, not quite alone. Careful, Abby. Careful where you flee. The world has worse on offer than the skin of your knee. As much as I wish that it weren't so, the way things are the way things go. I'm all you've got in this forsaken land, so hold back and trust in your narrator's hand.
makes a true RPG. Shaping the attitudes and urges of a fallible psyche. Bruising the tissues of another world. Should a true RPG have dice rolls? How about a megaton of dialogue? Maybe it's found in achieving a certain prestige, or winning the undying love of the people. But perhaps none of that matters, for being true is really about finding your style. That's right, brother. Disco Elysium, a true RPG. Now on the Epic Games Store.
They say there ain't no such thing as a good death. Depends on which side of the gun you're on and what you're fighting for. Not many kind souls left in purgatory. Most were cursed or sent to the abyss. But a few folks are looking out for me, helping where they can. Others, more problematic. There's an old saying, the only thing evil requires to succeed is for good men to do nothing. Living or dead, still true. And I'm through doing nothing.
Fighting fire from hell.
You
Here.
All right. The year is 1066, and we are located in northern Spain. Of course, it's not Spain yet, and it won't be for another 400 years, unless we expedite the process. Northern Spain is divided into a number of Catholic kingdoms that stand against the powerful Moorish realms of the south. In northwestern Iberia, we have 3 kingdoms ruled by 3 brothers. We have Galicia, we have Castile, and us in Leon. One new feature in Crusader Kings 3 is the Issues widget at the top. And if we click it, we can see that we are in line to inherit both Galicia and Castile. If we look at the map, we can see that Galicia is the one that is most open to Moorish attacks. Castile and Leon both have southern mountains that provide a very defensible advantage. If we compare army sizes, we can clearly see that Castile has the biggest army, while we have a middling army, and the young the young king of Galicia, has the smallest army. None of us really have an edge over the other, but we might be able to find an ally to support us. Indeed, this Aragonese princess will get us their armies on our side. Next, let's take a look at our king. So all characters in CK3 have 5 different skills. And we can see here that King Alfonso is very good at intrigue, which means that he can plot and scheme very effectively. And if we appoint a skilled spy master to support our schemes, and we get a spouse that enhances our intrigue, we can become even better. And to top it all off, we will pick a lifestyle that really accentuates this focus on scheming. We will pick the skullduggery focus. Indeed, we're going to try and murder our brother. As you can see, we have a 50% chance of succeeding. And if we are lucky, we can even find more agents in the court of our target that might be convinced by a slight bribe.
Have here.
In Empire of Sin, you can play as one of 14 different bosses, and it's a great mix of factual and fictional bosses, each with their own bonuses and special abilities. And today, we're going to play as one Mr. Dean O'Banion.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about Dean. What's his background? What kind of person is he?
Well, he grew up in Chicago, actually, in an area known as Little Hell. And in spite of that, or possibly because of it, Dean had strong ties to the church, which influenced many of the decisions he made, but clearly not all of them. Dean actually owned a flower shop, and from there, he ran his rackets.
Okay, very cool. Do all the bosses have their own missions?
Indeed they do. Dean's just about to head off to meet with Father Higgins here, which will kick off his boss mission. Now, Dean's used to walking the streets of Chicago, but we can also take a look at things from the world map to get a good idea of what's going on. Here we see Dean having a bit of a holy sit-down with the good Father Higgins. Now, Father Higgins has received word that a brothel has opened up in a neighbourhood nearby, and if there's one thing that Dean cannot abide, it's brothels. There are several things Dean could pick to say here, but he does what he needs for the good of the church. Ah, you're a good lad, Dean. Father Higgins offers him $500 from the coffers. Now, you can choose what you want to choose, but me, I'm always going to pick the cash. And a good blessing for the soul certainly can't hurt.
Righto, but how will Dean handle this then?
Well, in Empire of Sin, diplomacy happens one of 2 ways. It's either going to happen by breath or by bullet. And either we're going to talk it out and things are going to come to some kind of arrangement, or they're going to go south real quick. So Dean knows just the man for the job, and his name is George Moran, and he's a regular at one of Dean's establishments. You can see him there at the bar. So George is tight with the church too, but his morals are pretty loose. And here he's telling Dean that some guy is in from New York who he thinks has a pretty serious attitude problem. And George wants Dean to keep an eye on him, but Dean already knows a bit more. Now, the story ends up taking some surprising turns and getting pretty deep, but for now, Dean just wants to get the good father's deed done.
Okay, but doesn't really sound like a one-man job. Is he going to get any help?
Oh, that's what I'm thinking too. In Empire of Sin, there are 60 gangsters of varying skill levels that you can hire to join your crew. Me, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hire on Maria Rodriguez and Guido Cerrone. Now, I fought with these guys before, and they're fantastic. Gangsters develop loyalty to their boss the longer that they work together, and they also have an individual attribute called morale, which affects how they perform.
We know that every boss in Empire of Sin has their own combat ability. What's Dean's speciality?
Oh, yes. Dean's combat ability is a ranged attack known as blasphemy. Now, there were many accounts of Dean's brutal attacks during the Chicago newspaper wars where O'Banion and his crew were known as sluggers, and they would beat up the competition for rival newspapers. This often resulted in really close-range gunfights. This was where I drew the inspiration for blasphemy. Using this move, Dean will fire a custom shotgun slug at the target, and when the slug hits the target, it explodes. But I really wanted to add something extra, something that would give this ability a bang. That's when I decided that Dean's boss ability would be devastating to heavily armoured foes. I wanted to shred their armour completely, and not just one target, but multiple targets. And as a final piece of the puzzle, the name. An awful, brutal attack delivered by a foe that saw himself as a saint. Blasphemy was a most fitting title.
Man, it is a perfect title and a great move. So here we can see that Dean is done and he did what he needed to do, but there's a whole lot of Chicago beyond this. Dean's going to settle things here with Father Higgins, but like I said, it isn't over by a long shot, and it's going to take some surprising turns. In all of these stories, they're nothing compared to the stories that the player will tell on their way to the top of Chicago. That is mission complete.
Paradox released the ultimate grand strategy war game. Over the years, the game has expanded and tools of history has evolved.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen, you are about to embark upon the Great Crusade. You will bring about the destruction of the German war machine.
We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall never surrender. The new world, with all its power and might, steps forth to the rescue and the liberation of the old.
Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking.
Let's show them how we do. Everyone grab a lid.
Bye-bye now. move and the back of your head's gonna be so full of phosphorus, it'll be a war crime.